Welcome back to another episode of the Coach Steve Show podcast. We're back. I have Dr. Brad Miller and Coach Nathan West. Because Brad is a dietitian, so he is a doctor, I guess. He's better than our doctor for our football game Friday night. That's all I'll say about that. We're back. Nice week 0 college football. Our Illinois Fighting Illini played. Did not disappoint.
1-0, baby.
Big Ten leaders. Michigan ain't got shit on that.
We are the best team in the Big Ten statistically right now.
Yes.
We are the
so
best
now
team.
what we do is we just cancel a few games, hold off a few games, say we're going to play somebody on a practice field in a parking lot at the State Farm Center, and then we're Big Ten champions. That's how it works.
Exactly. As long as we have the highest winning percentage, it doesn't matter how many total wins.
Yes.
We know that. Thanks a lot, Kevin Warren, for being the worst commissioner in college sports.
Hey, whatever it takes to get to that Big Ten championship, Illinois will take it.
Yes.
True.
So it does not matter. Real quick, you guys that have not subscribed yet and watch, fucking subscribe. I don't know what to tell you. Just hit that button. Like, what the hell?
We have enough viewers now, or we can start preaching subscribe.
Those are rookie numbers.
Oh, okay.
You gotta get them up.
All right.
Like right here. His favorite thing about Sundays. This is church.
But he's a subscriber.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he's subscribed.
He needs to get more. He needs to get on it. I want that whole EIU football team to follow.
We will cover EIU football from the parking lot.
I will sell my soul.
Can we do that? Can we do a live podcast from EIU's first home game?
Oh, for sure.
Well, I mean, we've tried to do this now multiple times, and this time I'll let it slide, Steve, but we tried to do one from the Big Ten championship game, and you deboned us.
True. And then yesterday, you had the option.
That's enough.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Oh, sorry, you guys glitched out there.
Yeah.
In all honesty, Steve, you kind of made the right decision. It was so hot yesterday, the entire stadium ran out of water.
Yeah, they were out of water.
When they would zoom in on Bielema and he's in that pullover and pants, I'm like, oh my God.
How on earth?
Hey, but you know what though? Respect. That's my coach.
That guy doesn't sweat.
Did you see? No. After the game, reporter was like, "Are you getting emotional about your first win at Illinois?" He's like, "No, I'm just sweating."
There's a picture I shared. He's sitting in a chair, just all the way back, with a bottle of water, and he's just sitting there. And they're like, "Look at this majestic beast." And I was like, "That's my coach."
Yes.
I shared. I was like, "That's my coach right there."
I saw that. Yeah, that was good stuff.
They even showed Coach Miller on the sideline. He wasn't sweating either. I'm like, what is going on right now?
What I love is whole coaching staff, polos, dress pants. Coach Bielema looks like he's going to Planet Fitness.
With bright orange shoes.
Yes, with bright orange shoes.
He looked like a big-ass blueberry walking around with 2 little orange dots.
Brad, me and Nathan told you he's a big guy, and you can hear his voice everywhere. I could even hear it on the TV.
Yeah.
Well, who was it that got hurt that Bielema walked halfway onto the field? And then they got him up, and you could tell Bielema was like, "Son of a bitch," had to walk back over.
He literally had just gotten to the sideline, and Luke Ford gets up and limps across the field faster than Bielema makes it back. But you want to know what? I love every minute of it because that sideline was hopping. The energy was very good.
I was about to say, is this just a Illini recap?
We're gonna. That's what I was gonna say. So real quick,
okay.
With the 0 fans we have, because I told them to subscribe and they left. We're going to talk Illinois recap.
You scared them off.
Then we're going to talk about. I mean, the only other exciting thing in week 0 was UCLA. I didn't think they were going to do that to Hawaii at all. They ruined my parlay. Thanks a lot, Chip Kelly. You decide to coach again all of a sudden. Freaking bum, with his stupid visor. Then we're going to talk week 1 and then talk about Illinois again. But week 1, have some picks, tell you who to bet on, make money, because we told you to take Illinois straight up and the plus 6.5. And someone bet their mortgage on Nebraska, so now they're homeless. And we'll talk a little Scott Frost. He's on the very hot seat. And I think that's all we have. We don't want to do Bears because it's preseason. Who cares?
Yeah.
No one cares. But I will say this so we're going to talk Illinois right now. I want to bring that up. When Luke Ford got hit on the sideline, so on the TV, it shows Bielema walking over. Now, you guys tell me. It looked like somebody on Nebraska's sideline said something to him on the TV when they had the camera on him. He turned around and told them to get away from his player and told him to back up. And I'm like,
oh, really? We didn't see that.
Yeah, he said something. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but somebody said something to him and he turned around and said something to the ref, said something to their sideline.
Yeah, because it was like they were all kind of crowded around him, and then they all did kind of step back.
And I put it out there. I said, Lovie Smith wouldn't have done that. Like, Lovie would not have walked out there and did that. And I said, he has the team. I said, he's already had the team. I said, that right there proves he has the team. Like, that's that. If any question about Brent Bielema is right there. You guys said it. He had to walk all the way over there. They're trying to walk all the way back. But every time a player was hurt, guess who was out there? He was. He walked out there and he's like, I'm going to make sure you're okay. And Lovie never did that.
Which, by the way, I do want to say this because of the hot day. Kudos to the strength and conditioning staff. Me and Brad actually talked about this yesterday on that hot ass field, and no cramping issues. It was actually legitimate. Like, I think Ford might have got the wind knocked out of him, but the other guys were, like the Peters injury was not cramps. Neither was our defensive lineman. Like, that was a pretty clean game.
The only other person that got hurt was CJ Hart. And that wasn't conditioning based. I think he just got rolled up on.
Yeah. Luke Ford just got spun and he hit the ground. So the wind got knocked out of him, but you don't know. He's laying there. He's not moving. I thought it was his knee because when he got turned, I thought maybe it was his leg.
Yeah, his foot got caught.
But I just wanted to shout out. He'll never listen to this. Coach Bielema walking out there defending the players on their sideline. He didn't care. He walked right into that sideline. He didn't care. Lovie wouldn't have done that. Not saying Lovie didn't care, but that solidified that he has won that locker room.
Well, and just the energy of the team. When Lovie, there was a big divide between offense and defense, like when Lovie was there on the sideline. Like, the defense never really got up to watch the offense. And I get it. You got to go over adjustments. You got to talk and stuff. But it was very NFL-ish in that the offense and defense almost seemed like two separate entities. And yesterday, other than for little meetings that they had on the sidelines, dude, they were up watching the game. Like, every player was invested in the game. That was nice to see.
Well, Jay Cutler now has a podcast, so I listened to the first episode, and he brought that up. They brought up Lovie Smith, and he said that locker room was so divided of Lovie's defense was over here, and then the offense was over here, and they never really talked. And those were Lovie's guys, and Lovie did that at Illinois, and you can't do that in college. You can't say, hey, defense is over here, offense, you're over there, and screw you. It's so divided, and we talked about this before. Watching it with Lovie, like you said, there's two teams. And Lovie's not running on down on the sideline. He's not bumping up and down. Even on TV, all those Illinois coaches were fist bumping, jumping around. The players were jumping around, and
there was one of the coaches I thought could have done a 52-inch box jump on big plays. The dude was, it was a ton of energy. I loved it. It was so opposite of what we're used to seeing, right? So opposite. But even in the eye of the storm, Brett Bielema is still the eye of the storm. Everybody else has a ton of energy, and then he's this calm controller of the sideline.
Well, even so, you and I talked about this at the game. The start of the game was rough. We came out, and the part of Illinois we expected to be really good, offensive line, played like crap for the first quarter. basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We come in, backups in. Our defense is on the field most of that first quarter. And then you saw like everything just settled in. Like that first drive when Satowski got like comfortable and they had an extended drive, you looked at me and he was like, they're game planning on defense finally. And they came back out and there's a 3-and-out the next time. I was just like, that's something you never saw with Illinois either. There were no adjustments.
Well, Lovey was like live and die by this 1 or 2 coverages, and you just have to take the ball away. Our offense with Lovey Smith had no identity, so it was like just figure out what works. And they talked about it. We have a veteran staff. We can't forget that right now. They're veterans. And did you see the adjustments they made even at halftime?
And
like,
they've been at smaller schools, so like they don't have the best guys.
Right.
You know, I mean, even like our defensive coordinator, he's from Missouri, but against the SEC, Missouri is like a smaller fish.
Well, then like Peterson, he's been at Marshall, but he was at App State. Like they're still good players, but they're not Alabama. He has to game plan. And he saw Nebraska's defense was weak on the outside. So what do you do? He's like, I'm going to motion and go to the outside. I'm going to do wide zone because they're weak.
Yep.
Like he made those game plans.
We noticed something weird too. Nathan noticed it, honestly. But once you said it, early in the game, they would hit a play for big yardage, a run play, and then the next play was the exact same play.
Or very similar. It was being in the same area.
Yeah, they were running like the same concept twice in a row to the same area. And I don't know what that was or why but I don't know if you noticed, like I didn't think they did that in the second half.
No, not as much.
They were just like probing to figure out what
they were just trying. I think they were just trying to see what they could do first half and just saying like, okay, can we catch them real quick? Then when Peters goes down, your game plan changes just a hair. So they're trying to maybe figure out like, okay, what are we going to do? But I think the second half, they did run the same plays. They just out-formationed them better in the second half. So even though, because they ran wide zone like 3 times in a row, but it was different formations, different motions. I think that's what they changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's fine to run the same play 2 or 3 times in a row, but you have to. And then they started to have play action off of it. Statowski is a great play action quarterback.
And they had a lot of jet motion, which I thought was great. Like it was throwing Nebraska off. Because when you put Isaiah Williams in motion, I mean, you saw it work on that touchdown.
Yep.
You get that dude in space, he's electric.
Steve, the only thing that I wish would have happened on offense was they would have ran a jet in the middle of the field as opposed to just on the goal line. Because it worked so good on the goal line, like, you know that's coming later on in the season. And that, like, disco motion where they bring him in and then he flares back out, they're going to throw that eventually. They're going to start throwing that. They have to. Like, that they're going to – because Nebraska wasn't even honoring that motion towards the end of the game.
No, that's why they were doing it at the goal line on the short side of the field because they were like, oh, you're going to put your corner off, your inside backer way inside, and that safety back. Well, good luck. We're going to overload this side and go to the other way.
Oh, when I saw him hand it to him on the jet, just with the way I stood up before he'd even got the ball, I put my arms up because I was like, this is a touchdown. Like it was 2-on-3 and we had 3 people. One of them being the ball carrier.
It was just nice to see them move the ball for once in our lives. Like good play calling, setting things up. And the biggest thing I saw was people were complaining, oh, they were up 30-9 and they gave up points. If that was Lovie Smith's team, we would have lost. Like, who cares? Even if Nick Saban's telling us, like, we're not going to shut people down anymore, then I'm fine with Illinois giving up points. But
if you want an aggressive, stunning, and blitzing defense, you're going to give up a big run, which we did to Martinez in the second half. But we also got 5 sacks. And I was actually excited when the defense was coming onto the field.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to watch our defense.
Well, you were you were talking about defensive coverages. Like Illinois played straight up man that whole game. And in the beginning, when Martinez was stepping into throws, it was like, this is going to be a problem because he was hitting him. And then we sacked him twice on one drive, and I don't think he threw a accurate pass for the rest of the game.
No.
So I get why they did it, and it made sense with time.
Yeah.
You know, it was just in the beat. And watching the stunting up front, like after years of vanilla Lovie Smith defense.
1-3, 2 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like you see Rod Perry coming onto the field, all like 330 pounds of him, and you're like, oh, some shit's about to go down. You know?
It was just nice. Oh, go ahead.
The stunt that they ran with Carey, oh God, slanted both guys out. And it was like, and that was the thing was Martinez stepped up because he saw this big ass hole, and then it was, oh, there's Rod Carey. I'm done for.
There's a wall.
Yeah,
there's this wall.
There's a big ass man coming at me right now.
It was just nice to see game plan, and they would do. You correct me if I'm wrong. There was like cover 2, and then they switched to man, or it was just man with cover 2 in the back. They roll one safety down, do cover 0, and say good luck.
They were disguising pretty well.
Yeah.
And then once they started getting pressure, that's what changed the game, in my opinion. Because Martinez, they were just running shallows. Steve, it seemed like all they ran was fucking shallows.
They ran a lot of shallows. And they wanted them to move, so if Martinez had to take off, he had space. And we'll get to Nebraska in a minute, but like it kind of like Indiana when they played Ohio State.
Steve, do you ever do that? Here's a question for you because I noticed this. So Nebraska was running a wide zone, but they had their backside tackle block the backside end like straight up, and then that's what popped Martinez on that big ass play.
Yeah, you can do that, and then you could have zone inserts. So sometimes you'll see an inside zone or wide zone, and they'll lock the end and then insert somebody underneath of that. So when that backer's flying over, when they cut back, he's cutting them off.
Gotcha.
So that's just a variation of it where you can lock it. Because if that defensive end is giving you problems, you just lock it, and eventually when you cut it back, nobody's there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they had ran wide zones so much, those linebackers are flowing so – like the Illinois guys were flowing hard. That's why most of the Nebraska's big runs were like a cutback, almost like 2 holes back.
Well, that's the thing about wide zone, and that's why you saw Illinois do wide zone, and people don't know. I mean, I've probably talked about wide zone is supposed to hit up the middle, believe it or not. It's not supposed to go outside. So Illinois, they just kept doing wide zone, and the offensive line in that second half just dominated.
They did.
When they locked on a man, they're like, you ain't going anywhere. And we ran harder, we blocked harder, they tackled better, they flew around better. And I was not worried about that defense at the end of the game of Nebraska scoring. I was like, they ain't scoring. Like, it's fine. And with Lovie Smith, we'd be sitting there like they're going to score. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Brent Bielema's got them playing harder, and that's all we needed. That's all we need. I don't care if we win by 1 point. Like, the mentality of the team is just like, you ain't going to score. You ain't going to win.
Yeah.
And Bielema was calm. Like, he's just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think at this point, you hit on it. Like, wins are wins.
Right.
We're not playing for a national championship berth. Just get the W's. I don't care if they're ugly. You know,
we have an above 500 season, that is an amazing season in a first year.
And for all of the days to have a really good showing, the football program put all their dice in on winning this game because they had, 20 recruits there today? That's big. So did basketball. Basketball had 7 guys there. Like,
wow.
Yeah, they put a lot into this, and to have the student section full, which we should talk about that because Nathan and I have a couple opinions about how Illinois runs their student section.
Yeah.
But I think the most impressive thing that you never saw with Illinois under Lovie Smith was we won the time of possession. And if it wasn't for that last drive that Nebraska had, where they chewed a lot of clock, shouldn't have been chewing clock, but had to, we would have trounced them in time of possession.
Right.
Like, we held the ball basically the entire second quarter.
Well, that's the other thing with Peterson. Like, he understands, like, hey, we're up big. We're going to take time. We're not going to try to go fast pace and this and that. He understands. So we finally have a play caller who's won a national title on a staff, is won at App State as an offensive play caller. He understands 30 years of it, 30 years of coaching on offense. Like, and Bielema, like I said, go back and watch the spring game. Bielema's involved in the offense. He told on the spring game, we're running this play to set up this play. And if this works, we have this play and this play. Like, he even knows.
Yeah.
I don't think Lovey knew what offense they were running. Like, I don't think he understood it. So I think Bielema knowing both and letting them do their thing, and he's like, it's fun.
Yeah. No, Lovey knew what they were doing on offense because it was just bubble, 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 bubble. That's all.
Or run into the nose guard.
Yeah.
Well, you want to talk about a head coach not knowing. Do you want to talk about Scott Frost? It's first and goal, and Scott Frost runs a QB sneak,
Thinking it's 4th and 1,
Yeah.
which in his defense, his side judge spotted the ball short of the first down marker.
Yeah.
And then somebody overrode that. We can get into conspiracies, but to make that game interesting, you just give them that first down.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Frost, though, also pissed off the refs because he kept telling the refs they were going too slow. They showed that on TV. He was yelling at them because they weren't spotting the ball fast enough. So you want to piss them off, they're not going to put the ball where you want it.
They were down 2 refs. Did they show that on TV?
Yeah, and did you see Scott Frost? It was right before that last ref got hit. Did you see him freaking out on the refs? They zoomed in on it. He took his headset off, and he is red in the face yelling at them, telling them to spot the ball faster and do their job and this, and this. And I'm like, don't you realize they're already down 1 ref? And then right after that happened, the next ref goes down, who's bleeding out of his ear. The camera zoomed in on it, like he's bleeding out of his ear.
Shit. Yeah.
Well, we said that. Yeah, he had to have gotten hit in the head.
Yeah, like the shoulder pad got his shoulder, and then the helmet scraced off his ear. They showed in slow motion.
Yeah. And those are grown-ass young men.
Running shallow. That guy's running a shallow. That linebacker comes flying.
Yeah. Because they obviously they didn't show the replay in the stadium, but with how much they were running like shallow and mesh and that kind of, like, I knew it was like, oh shit, this ain't good.
Which, shout out to those refs, because there was a big pick call at the end of that game that they caught down 2 refs.
Yeah.
And it was obvious what they did, but at the same time, you're down 2 refs. Like,
You're down
that's
2
impressive.
refs. It's 106 degrees on that turf. Like, kudos to them. But yes, Scott Frost is on the very hot seat. He was on the hot seat coming in. And I think they showed it. I think 12 of his losses are by less than 8 points while he's been at Nebraska, I think. But Nebraska's not a bad team. They have dudes.
Well, here's the deal, Steve. Like, you want to talk about just shitty decision making, and maybe this is a little thing, but at the end of that first half, right, Illinois got it going. We just recover the fumble for a touchdown, and then what does he do? He goes for it. The last, like, he runs the clock down to like 3 seconds. Illinois has 5 guys deep, and they're like man under. They bring a 3-man rush and sack your quarterback going directly into the half. Like, we already had momentum. And then we just went ahead and put it up on a pedestal because of that decision.
Well, you want to see something funny, you should look up the Fox Sports Reggie Bush's reaction to them running a play. He's like, what are you doing? That was pointless.
Yeah. Because you're not going to score, and then you got sacked. And if there was any more momentum to be had, we took it.
Well, then the decision making where he thought it was 4th and 1, but it was really first down. You're complaining about going so fast. You went so fast, you didn't know what was going on. That's why sometimes that up-tempo stuff I don't like. You have no idea what's going on. If you would have taken 3 more seconds, you would have seen it's first down, and you would have said, hey, stop.
Yeah.
Just hold on a second.
Because ultimately they wasted a play.
because I was confused too, because I couldn't see where the ball was, but it said 4th and 1. So when he got the quarterback sneak, I was like, okay, now it's 1st down. Like 2 plays later, it said 3rd down or 4th down. I was like, wait. And then they corrected and they said, oh, the spot of the ball, and Scott Frost didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, he is overcoaching right now. I think that is just panicking of his job, and they're under investigation. Like, we can't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is coaching for his life right now, and Nebraska needs to go back to the Big 12.
And what's the thing, when the hot seat gets hot, those guys tend to overcoach, right? You start micromanaging everything, and ultimately you're forgetting why you hired people.
Yeah. Right. I'm not saying he's not a good play caller, because when he was at UCF, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They went 13-0.
National champions.
Yeah.
Oh God, Alabama would have.
They wanted Bama, Steve.
Alabama would have beat them down.
Didn't they? They beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, they did beat a good team in the bowl game.
Yeah.
But he's also changed his offense. Like, back then, they were not this quick, fast-paced. They would, but they were. It was kind of like Gus, his offense. They were RPO. They were condensed formations. And then he got to Nebraska, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, I'm going to go fast-paced," because no, that's not the type of kid you're going to recruit there.
Yeah.
You're going to get those cornbread Wisconsin, Nebraska kids that you just got to run the ball.
Well, I was telling Nathan, I read a story right before the game of his last 2 recruiting classes. He has like 3 guys still on campus from both of those classes. They all transferred out.
So if that don't tell you anything, like,
that's brutal, because evidently he wasn't recruiting the Midwest at all. He was trying to recruit Florida.
It's a Lovie Smith thing all over again.
Yeah, it's like Nebraska is dealing with the Lovie Smith experience.
Because he thinks, because he coached down there, he can go down there and get these kids. But it's like, wait a minute. That's not going to happen.
See, here's the thing, though. I think to have a good culture, like even Alabama, they always lock down like the top 4 Alabama kids in the state. You know what I mean? Like, if you're Nebraska, you recruit at home, that's your culture, and then you bring in pieces that complement and like exploit those other things. That's what Illinois is doing right now. Like, let's lock down our state. Let's get some, and we have some good ass football players in Illinois. Lock down our state, get some good ass football players in here, and let's sprinkle in a Texas and a couple of Floridas, and we'll pick up a couple transfers if we're really hurting at a position, and we'll just sprinkle these guys in. You can't have your core be outsiders.
And think about how fast, like, you bring someone in with the right attitude, that turned around for Illinois.
Well, look,
so
Jay Lehman and Britt Miller, Decatur and Champaign. Like,
in this recruiting cycle, Illinois is 2 wins, 1 loss against Iowa for recruits head up. In a million years, I never would have thought that would happen in year 1.
Well, I guess where Bielema learned how to recruit at Iowa, because Iowa does that. They said, we're going to lock down Iowa, and guess what kind of kids they get? Fullbacks and big linemen.
Yeah.
So that's what they cater to. And then they say, okay, we're going to go to Illinois and get outside guys. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. And just get what else we need.
And they normally get one of our top linemen from the state, from the Chicago area.
Well, and Bielema, like, right when he first got hired, is one of my favorite things he ever said. He was like, when I was at Wisconsin, my favorite thing to do was recruit Illinois, because no one was recruiting it. And I was like, there you go. And if you look at it, I forget what it was. Bielema had a press conference, and he was talking about, like, I recruit these offensive linemen, and then I let them recruit the other guys.
Which is ultimately what they've done. You look at like Hunter Whitenack and the kid.
Joey Okla.
The kid from Iroquois West, Aiden Lawfrey. Like, I know that they have the kid offered from Arthur Lovington. They had the kid from Rochester decommit and come to us. Like, yeah. And that's like, it's one thing to get like the Chicago guys, but like the downstate guys like Lawfrey, the kid from Iroquois West, like those kids don't come around very often. like
And
Well,
it matters to get those guys.
exactly.
Because
He said
then
that-
their whole community comes to the games.
Yeah.
He said that the other day. They asked him about it, and he said, one of my biggest positives is I understand Southern Illinois and Central Illinois. He goes, I understand how it works. He goes, I got guys taking care of Chicago. He goes, I understand how it works down there. He goes, we have to get them. He goes, they can't go to Missouri. They can't go here. They can't go here. I have to get them. And so Northwestern better watch out, because how many Illinois guys do they have? They have a ton.
Yeah.
And he's going to take them.
Well, he said Illinois produces on a normal year, Illinois produces between 20 and 30 Power 5 players. You can fill a roster with that.
Yeah.
And he wants all of them. He
I
wants
know.
He's
He
like,
wants
I want
all of them, but even if we only get half,
that's a success. Like
you
he
get
wins.
half every year. So you have like 40 Illinois kids on your roster, and that's not even assuming freshmen. If you can have 15 freshmen, so half and like 10 every year, that'd be nice.
Now, I will say, like, the recruiting's one thing, but the development's another. And I think that's a piece of the Lovie Smith thing that gets underrated. How bad they was just development of talent.
Yeah.
And I don't know I noticed it on defense, and then like with offensive skill positions, we rotated everyone. They were rotating D-line every other play. Like, obviously you have Owen Wilson and Isaiah Gay, Owen Carney, and Isaiah Gay, who are two very good defensive end outside linebackers, but they were putting freshmen out there to get reps.
Well, they put the Norwood kid out there. Well, we had Norwood, Epstein, Chase Brown. We used like 4 or 5 running backs.
Yeah. And you know who the receiver was that caught that long pass? It was a defensive back last year. That kid played corner last year. That's what I'm saying. And he looked like a natural receiver.
Yeah.
But it was a hell of a catch.
Nathan said it earlier. We have coaches that coached FCS ball or small Division I schools. And so what do? They get these kids that sometimes are maybe walk-ons or half scholarship, and they're like, oh, you played corner? You're better at wide receiver. Oh, Isaiah Williams, yeah, you're a quarterback. You're our jet guy. Like, this is what you can do.
And we're actually going to use you. It isn't like, hey, we're going to move you and then just never utilize you.
And how happy,
used him.
How much did the stadium go crazy when Luke Ford caught a touchdown?
Yeah.
The whole stadium was like, Luke.
Yeah.
And then when he almost got, I thought he was hurt on the sideline. I was like, oh, shit.
I was actually really worried because we actually ran a lot of 2 tight end stuff.
Oh, I love it. That helps out the zone game because you're opening up the gap.
And then the touchdown that we scored with Luke jumping up in the air and catching that, I kind of called that. I said we got to have some sort of an action. These guys are just flying upfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nebraska was just flying in the box.
Well, we have 3 running backs that can pop up a 20-yard run.
Yeah.
And you got those offensive linemen, I'd be thinking run.
And for a guy that got on campus super late, how good did Epstein look? He looked like a stud.
God, he has like negative body fat percentage is what that looks like.
Yeah.
Meatball. He's literally a ball of muscle.
Yeah.
Well, Nebraska, poor Nebraska, though.
The last thing I'll say about Illinois, how happy are you for Art Satowski? That dude got thrown into a crappy situation at Rutgers, threw like 4 touchdowns and 20 interceptions as a freshman because that team was so terrible, and now came to Illinois and might have won a starting job.
Yeah.
For what will be a competent offense.
He was like 70% passing.
Because they kept the game simple. It was a simple. That's what I loved about halftime. They adjusted and they said, what can he do? Oh, he can do all this. That's what we're going to do.
What I didn't like was like the first 2 series we had him in there though is just run. And it was like when he completed that first down pass on first down, right? We ran like a comeback or something. I was like, okay, now they're going to have to honor that. And then he hit the big one. And I was like, yeah, they're really going to have to start paying attention.
Yeah.
Like now the field has not went side to side and playing in the box. Now you've got to defend it horizontally and vertically. And that was huge.
And he looked like, minus when he first came in, he looked scared.
Yeah.
But then I don't know who talked to him on the sideline, but the next time we saw him, he looked calm as can be.
Yeah.
And he was just like calm the rest of the game. Made good decisions, didn't put the ball in harm's way. Like really good play.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked about an Illinois game for 36 minutes. And it'll be positive.
And not talk about firing a head coach or something else that takes us off on a tangent.
So should we? It obviously wasn't all good. So where's the room for improvement here? Because obviously there was.
Gave up big plays on defense. There was, like you said, when you run man coverage against a running quarterback, like that big one he popped off, everyone churned because they're playing man. And if you don't keep somebody in the middle or stunt in the middle, or just have those defensive ends not make a play. Like just tell them you're going to sit there and squeeze it in, stunt in the middle so that way they stay in. That was
right.
And then after we put up the 30 points, I don't know if we took the foot off the gas. We just weren't getting a big push. But I also think Nebraska was in a panic mode and just said, screw it. Like we're just going to fly up.
Yeah.
I don't think that, so my thing was the first quarter was slow and the fourth quarter was slow. But those middle 2 quarters, we were winning 30-9 at one point against Nebraska. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
I will say our offensive line looked rough. They were not put in an easy position at the end of that game to salt the game away. Like, Nebraska loaded the box, and we were still getting like 6 yards a pop on some of these runs. That offensive line impressed the hell out of me. But I think there's room to improve.
I did like when we brought in the extra lineman. Did you see that, Steve? Brought in number 54. He looked like he was a very lean tackle. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's what Bielema was doing at Wisconsin. So that's why I like they kept saying Bielema ball, but it's not under center anymore all the time. It's we're going to go shotgun and do it now.
Like you want to talk about unbalanced, bring in an extra offensive lineman at tight end, then put a tight end on the outside of him, and then put another tight end in the H-back spot behind them. Like that's what we were doing.
Yeah, at one point we were running like 2 tight ends, 2 H-backs, and Nathan and I look at each other. We're like, it's the full house.
Yes.
No, I don't know. And then we just let Nebraska have a 6-minute drive. Is it 6 or 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Down at the end of the game.
Them up. At the end of the game, we had almost doubled them up in time of possession, even with the slow first quarter.
Yeah.
It was 28-14 on time of possession. When I remember when I looked at the clock.
You just have to clean that up. But again, like when you make them do that, you're so close. You're just a play or two away from them not doing that. So I'm not so concerned about that because it wasn't big plays during that drive. It was nickel and dime. But I think Illinois' mindset was, okay, you can do this. We're going to let you do this.
Yeah, it was a calm confidence. Like once they got up 30-9, they were like, all we have to do is throw salt in the wound, run the ball, and we're going to get out of here with a win.
But again, Nebraska is not that bad. Martinez is a good quarterback. They have good tight ends.
Is a good quarterback.
They have good out receivers and tight ends. Like I've been on another podcast where they said Nebraska's back. Coach Bennett out there in South Carolina, he knows. He told me, he's like, they're going to beat Illinois. And I said, if Lovie Smith can beat Illinois last year and we bring back the exact same team with better coaches, we're going to beat Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, but Nebraska's good. Like they should be pretty good. That's a good team. So I'm not so mad that they nickel and dime down the field. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. But Scott Frost is coaching for his life for the second year in a row. He's on the hot seat in the spring.
I think that if they had a guy who was secure in his position, they would be a lot better.
Right.
Because Martinez, when he broke off that run, dude, he outran everybody. Our defensive backs couldn't even.
Yeah, there was no catching him.
Like, we weren't making a dent in that closing speed. Like,
No.
He was gone.
He's the only 3-time captain in Nebraska history, I think. So, like, there's a reason he's good. And their tight ends are athletic. And,
it's just a rough look. His one tight end is 6'9", and he overthrew him on a 5-yard out route.
That's the only thing with Martinez is he's kind of short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Juice Williams, they said he was 6'2", but he was actually like 5'10".
It says you're 6'6". Well, I'm 5'6".
It would be like me saying I'm Steve and then just being me. You know, like Steve's up here and I'm down in a different – he's like in the stratosphere and I'm down – I'm in the bogs.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready to be hurt again. We're doing this whole thing, and next I'm ready to be hurt all over again, but I don't –
You know what I liked was it wasn't just a win, but there was intangibles that showed me that the players are bought in. Like, even if we lose that game, I loved what I saw on the sideline because I hadn't seen that in like 3 or 4 years. And we were actually we looked like a football team.
Yeah.
And the no cramping thing's huge. Clearly somebody did what they were supposed to do with that.
Yeah. I figured my thing that I didn't like that they did yesterday. Really room for improvement. When Nebraska went to that hurry up at the end of the game, our defensive linemen were walking to the line and they weren't getting set before the snap. Yeah. You remember seeing that?
Yeah.
And it got sloppy.
Or on that big run when that defensive back's just like standing there because the receiver stopped and the guy's like running down the field behind him and he had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it was Martinez had that big run towards the horseshoe, Steve, and they had all ran those verts, and the one defensive back's just standing next to the receiver. The receiver's just standing there, and our defensive back had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, I think some work against the hurry up in practice, would do us some good. Because I don't know, who do we play next? Oh, it's UTSA.
Which that's a trap game. The UTSA is good.
Yeah, I looked. Their starting receivers are from Texas and UCLA.
A coach that I do another podcast with, he's a UTSA guy. He talks to coaches there, like he talks to college coaches. They're good. And so a lot of people are picking UTSA to beat Illinois. Like, a lot.
We just got to come out with our head out of our ass. Because with Lovey, I would be really fearful. And I think Bielema's going to be like, hey, boys, 1-0 is great. 2-0 is even better.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think we will clean up things like the hurry-up stuff. I think we'll clean that up. And I think blow for blow, I think we'll be all right.
Well, it's almost a good thing that stuff happened because now how do you bounce back from it?
Yeah.
So sometimes you need those bad things to happen, and thank God you're up 30-9 when it happens. But I trust Bielema's going to fix it because remember he's a defensive guy, so he'll fix it.
Well, at one point, our ends were stand up, and we were using just 2 interior tackles.
But that's what I like about Bielema.
It looked like the New England style, or like when Philadelphia, like Brad brought this up, when Philadelphia had Fletcher Cox, and it was like, hey, Fletcher Cox, you go rush the quarterback, and we're going to drop 10.
You got this.
Yeah. Oh, Chris Long, we'll throw him in there to help you out.
But that's the thing with Bielema. He said that when he got hired. Hey, if we can play a 4-2-5, we're going to play a 4-2-5. We can play a 3-4, we're going to do it. If I can do this, we're going to do it. Hey, can we do all 3? Good. We're going to do whatever they can do.
Yeah. Which was good to see.
Because they did in the spring game. the exact same thing. If you watch the spring game, they had a 3-4, and then at one point they did it looked like the 4-6 with all stand-up guys, and it was like, what are you doing?
Now, on to some more some negatives, because Brad and I talked about this. Illinois needs to stop charging students for their student section.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what, $50 or $60 for them?
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's like, if you have a student ID, like, what if you don't have tickets? If you have a student ID, let them in.
Yeah.
You want to get a raucous student section, make it free.
And they already shoot themselves in the foot because they put the student section 30 feet up.
Yeah.
So they can be loud, but it's not going to affect the game unless that thing's full. And yesterday it was full for like the first time I've ever seen it.
For the first time since the night game against Michigan in 2007, when we went to the Rose Bowl that year, and they had Mario Manningham and those guys, Mike Hart. Yeah, it was the last time that thing had been full.
Well, like, why can't you say, oh, you're a student here and you're paying $40,000 a year to come here? You are allowed to go into this game for free. Like, that's what other teams do.
Yeah.
Like I told Nathan, I was like, it makes sense to make them pay for basketball because there's just not a lot of seats.
And there's a lot of games.
Exactly. But that football stadium is never full. Give those tickets away.
Yeah. Start hustling. Go to Cam's and just be like, hey, you guys want to go to the game? And even if that ticket ends up in the trash, who cares? Because that seat wasn't going to be filled anyways.
Exactly. Like,
hey, this is on our game day experience. We need the folding tables.
Steve, we need to talk about the game day experience as well, because I actually called the T-shirt cannon failure. I said half these things are going to unfold by the time they like take off. Brad did catch a T-shirt.
True.
So we know him.
Yeah.
He's famous. It's a pretty famous shirt too.
So, Brad, you can take that T-shirt back and say, hey, this unfolded in midair. I want this shirt and money, and we got to fix this experience. Like, let me tell you something.
Steve, me and Brad talked about it. We would have had people there for 3 weeks, just absolutely wasted and practicing all the pregame stuff.
Because how rusty did everyone sound trying to do ILL, INI?
Yeah.
They were just rusty.
I was about to bring that up. I think the reason why that student section was full is because of Bielema. But I also think because we just went a whole season where you couldn't go watch a game.
Yeah.
Because someone talked about that even in high school. Every coach I talked to said, man, we've never seen this many people at a game.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Like, you weren't allowed to go. I think now people are like, oh, I'm going to go. One, because it was Bielema. I think that's the big reason. I think it was like, oh, Bielema's here? Okay. But the fact that you couldn't go in the spring. And like you said, they're rusty. I guarantee that equipment's rusty. I guarantee the game day people are rusty because like we haven't had to do this for a year.
Yeah, but they could have hired a tremendous trio to prime everything. Like that's what you do. Like in the pregame, you know, is like we should be like hype guys. That's what we do. We go around and it's like, hey, y'all, before the team comes out, we need to practice a few things. And then you get the whole crowd involved right before the team comes out. So then that way the crowd understands how this is going.
Hey,
even stuff that's like sacred, like they did the 3-1, and like I was even off rhythm clapping because I hadn't done it in forever.
If they want to pay me enough money, I will stop coaching high school sports and put a flyer up. Okay, on Friday night, we're going to practice this game day experience. Meet me Saturday at 8 a.m. We're going to practice it again, and then we're ready to roll at 11 a.m.
Steve, if they pay me, I'd give up sports all week. I'd just be done. But that would be my job. I would make sure that they had the perfect game day experience. But we would somehow get Garth Brooks to perform the 3-1 at halftime.
You don't want Garth Brooks.
Our office has to be connected to Bielema's at all times.
Garth Brooks fills stadiums.
Go to Garth Brooks's Instagram right now.
Why? What's he doing?
Just look at the comments on his Instagram.
I don't have an Instagram.
Every other comment on it, for anyone watching, look at Garth Brooks's Instagram, and every other comment is, "Where are the bodies, Garth? The families need closure."
Oh my God.
Where are the bodies? What did he do?
They just, this comedian I follow started having all of his fans, like every time he posts on Instagram, it's all just inside jokes from their podcast. And like, they have this theory that Garth Brooks is actually a serial killer. So the comments are all like, "Garth, I want my parents back. I need closure."
The very first
Steve,
one I clicked on.
What was it?
Oh, go
Steve?
ahead. Steve, go
It's
ahead.
Tom Segura. Do you still drink sparkling water? Like,
Yeah, he's the one that did it. And now he's like shadow banned from Garth's.
here's one. Where's my Aunt Sue, Garth?
And Steve, so then here was another thing that I kind of thought of, and I bounced it off of Brad, and he thinks it would be hilarious. Is if we just went to random college football games dressed as fans of the home team and then just started screaming to put in their kids that had transferred to other schools.
Yes.
Yeah, we should have worn
like unintelligible fans.
Yeah, we should have worn like Nebraska red and be like, "Put Luke McCaffrey in."
We want McCaffrey.
We'll be
Like that
Nick
lady
Barnes.
that was sitting right in front of us that understood nothing about college football.
She had no clue what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And then I looked back at my wife and I went, "Don't ever be that stupid. You are an intelligent sports fan."
If we did that, we'd be like the next Barstool. These three are not allowed in any college sporting events ever.
Steve, that would get us viewers. I'm not going to lie. That would actually probably be pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
To like go to, it's got to be enough, but not enough. So you got to go to a place where, like Nebraska. If we went to Nebraska, full crowd, and started yelling, "Put McCaffrey in,"
We might get killed.
Or we
No,
should have
that's what you have
started.
to do, though.
We could have been yelling stuff like, "Shouldn't we have some like extra coaches work on this during the summer?"
I hope we don't go under investigation for this. Oh,
But Steve, I personally, and I think Brad concurs, I wanted to throw this. We need to do that. We need a YouTube content editor, and that's what we need to do.
hey, Jacob, we need a YouTube content creator.
It doesn't pay anything. You'll be paid in Safe Moon whenever Steve gets around to it.
You'll be paid in SafeMoon, Dogecoin, and I'll give you 1 share of AMC.
And I'll send you a case of water.
Which they needed yesterday. They needed it bad.
Yeah, they did. Dasani did not do well in bottling the water.
No. They had plenty of beer, but I don't think anyone wanted beer. We were all just sweating.
You had to mortgage your life savings to get enough water to keep you hydrated.
Well, they
Well,
showed
at one point, Nathan's wife left to go get food, and she was gone for an entire quarter and a half. And we were like, "Is she having her baby?"
Yeah. So here's what's crazy is they put, so Hickory River used to be right in the point of the horseshoe, right outside of our entrance. And it was perfect. The Hickory River Smokehouse, we'd go down, we'd get our fucking pulled pork nachos with our mild sauce, and life was great. They have moved Hickory River to the fucking east freaking corridor thing. And so she was trying to find these goddamn nachos, bless her heart. And she's not very directionally like organized. So like she was walking around trying to find yes.
Got it.
Got him.
And so she was trying to find it. So if anybody goes to an Illinois game and you're looking for Hickory River, you have to go to the east bleachers.
Concourse, yeah.
Yeah, east concourse area. Do not go to the point. That is only a beer stand now. And I'd much rather have Hickory River that would sell beer. But you know.
Yeah.
They probably make more money.
Why
University has to
have
make
any
their money.
legitimate food establishments in the horseshoe? It's just the common folk.
Did you?
That's
they
why
showed
they don't care. They don't care about the common folk.
Illinois' first touchdown, the camera moved to, I can't remember if it was the student section or one of the sections. They're pumping up and down. This guy reaches in, pulls out a shooter, and the camera stays on it the whole time. And it's just
Yes.
like this.
And see, this is the game day experience that's just a taste. That's just the taste.
You walk in, you walk through the turnstile, and you get handed 2 shooters, a fireball, and a Busch Light. And they're like, go for it.
And if they ask for anything else, like a Bud Light, we say, get out. Go. Get out.
And it doesn't matter how old you are. 9 years old, 2 shooters, fireball, Busch Light.
Go.
No. We got to groom them. So what it would be like a cinnamon drink.
Yes.
Like, little kid, here's your virgin fireball shooter.
You dump this in your Pepsi and you shotgun it.
So by the time you're 12, you understand what's going on.
Say cheers with your dad.
If we did that enough, I guarantee pregame Brett Bielema would sit in that. Guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly.
With flip-flops on.
Part of me wanted Bielema to walk. Like, if we have a Friday game, I want Bielema to coach in his all blue sweatsuit, but have bright orange flip-flops.
No, here's what I want.
That would have been the way to do it.
I can't even remember what the hell I was just going to say, but it was a genius idea, and now it's gone.
All I know is 56 minutes of Illinois talk has been fantastic. Like,
yes.
It feels good.
Like,
oh, Jacob, by the way, Brad Underwood's going to be on the show Hot Ones.
He is.
I can't wait for that to come out.
Just so everybody knows, because I want to go on the record today. Went to OHOP, and Brad Underwood I gave him my parking spot. So
thank you for your service.
Due diligence.
Yes.
So that deserves all 3 of us to go interview him for the podcast, right? Like, I gave you the parking spot. Yeah. Now you do something for me.
He would be sick because, like, Brad Underwood doesn't like to do interviews anyway.
Brad Underwood might make me piss my pants.
I would be so scared to interview Brad Underwood. I would be more ready to interview Bielema.
Yes. Bielema's like a guy who would sit around the fire. Underwood's like a guy, if you said one thing wrong, I feel like you would be taken out by someone.
I would hand him a fireball, a Pepsi, and a Busch Light and be like, here you go, calm down. Now we can get going.
I don't think he drinks.
He would. I would make him.
No, because he lost all that weight.
Yeah.
He quit drinking.
Well, he was walking 6 miles a day.
I know, but the part of that was he said he quit drinking.
Well,
the only drink he had was after they won the Big Ten championship.
Well, then I can't wait for this Hot Ones because let's see him. How mad is he going to get if he's like dying?
Oh, Jacob had a good question there. Bigger power move, going on Hot Ones or showing a cow at the state fair?
I mean, showing the cow at the state fair is a big power move. Like,
I kind of love the fact that he's doing all this because, like, the state of Illinois loves him already. Yeah. Underwood.
This is just a "we love you more" move.
Yeah.
You just won all of south of I-80 for the rest of your tenure.
Yeah, by going into a pen and showing a cow.
Well, the coaches I work with at Nequa, they love Illinois. So they're big Brad Underwood people. So anytime we were at a game in the spring, how's Illinois doing? Steve, can you check on that? You got it.
Yeah.
I'll be the Illinois guy.
I'm your Illinois guy.
And think, how far are we from that being the same for football? You got to have 2 winning seasons?
Couple years, yeah.
That's a low bar.
Are there 2 better coaches for U of I than Brad Underwood and Brent Bielema?
No. Here was something interesting. So I was on the Twitter, and Orlando Antigua put up an ILL. He was watching the football game yesterday.
He left on good terms.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and Underwood,
like, much respect there.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if, like, they didn't have a handshake agreement for Antigua to back off of Kofi.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Because if you're Kofi, why don't you go to Kentucky? I know they brought in a 5-star center, but like if I'm John Calipari, I want Kofi Coburn.
Yeah, because he's a difference maker.
There probably was, and that says something about Brad Underwood for a guy to be like, you can go, or how do I want to say this? Respect between each other. Like, hey, I'm not going to do this to you.
Yeah.
And we get it.
Yeah. Because you got to think about it. Curbelo, Melendez, and Coburn all recruited by Antigua.
And stayed.
Yeah.
And they're all like Caribbean influence guys, which Antigua recruited.
And that's the big thing is that Melendez, because Melendez owes us nothing, right? Like,
yeah,
he's an incoming freshman, and nice to have him stay because he's Illinois. Like, I don't even want to talk about basketball, but I'm really jacked up about that.
I'm just jacked up about Illinois sports. I looked at Amy at one point yesterday, and I was like, I fucking love college sports.
Will our tennis
so
team and gymnastics team not be the two best men's teams in the university by the end of the year?
And they're getting a hockey team, right?
Actually, it'll probably be golf, men's golf.
Oh yeah,
because they're legit.
Which, by the way, former Illini Steve Stricker is now the captain of the Ryder Cup team.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cool.
Kind of badass. We should probably start doing these games for next week, though.
It's been an hour of Illinois.
Yeah.
We've done an hour of Illinois.
We're doing so good about staying on subject.
I'll be honest, though. Like, we really did. Like, I felt like that was good coverage. A little bit of technical analysis with, like, game day experience still, because we can always make that better.
Exactly. It's just the fans needed reps.
Yes.
They needed to go in there.
The card game was way off. The card game was like card ebonics, Steve.
It's bad.
It was terrible.
But hey, they get a pass a little bit because it's been a year.
Exactly. They need time.
Yeah, they need time.
Like the beer chug didn't work.
Nope. It was.
What did the tailgate look like? Was the tailgate rough?
Dude, there was quite a few.
There was a lot.
So
and also, I will say this: shout out to Nebraska. Their fans travel.
Oh, buddy.
Man, at the beginning of the game, it was like 50-50.
The Go Big Red was pretty damn loud.
Yeah, and when
respectful, they weren't like assholes.
No, they were actually really nice. And like, did you notice those fans like down to the right of us were like, they reminded me of us. Because at one point, Martinez like hit a receiver over the middle and he stood up and he's like, we completed a pass to a receiver.
So like when we won, did Illinois fans like, what is this? What's going on?
A lot of people have left because it was so freaking hot. I mean, you got to think where we were sitting, that scoreboard shadow was perfect for us. The rest of that stadium was in the freaking sun the whole game, unless you were up under one of the lips.
Yeah.
Well, when they turned the game on, they had the dial right by the turf, and it was like at 102 when it started, and that's just right there. And I was like, oh my God. And then later on, it's like, oh, it's up to 106 now. Now it's like 108. Now it's.
There was only like 2 cloud breaks the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
it didn't last very long.
We went
I
outside.
probably wouldn't have stayed for an entire game, and I stay for every damn game. But when they ran out of water, it was kind of like an oh shit moment, especially having a pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Well, like when we went outside we had practice, then we had to catch the end of the freshman game. Just walking outside, I was like, oh God, it's hot, and just start sweating.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And can we also holler this out to everybody who thinks that just aimless, mindless, just running around keeps you from cramping? You are, in fact, an idiot. Me and Brad had this discussion yesterday. You have to experience super high levels of bouts of exercise so that your body learns how to scrub the lactic acid from your body. And so with that being said, for those of you that just run aimlessly and then you wonder why you're cramping up or you don't run at all, just you need to like there's a reason it's called game shape, and you get that from being in games, which is repetitive high intensity bouts. You don't get
Which,
that.
by the way, yeah, like lactic acid scrubbing is something that you improve over time with performance, but you have to train that. You can't. There's not a whole lot else you can do.
Yep.
It's just,
So shout out to Tank.
Yes.
I honestly think like their defense at one point was on the field forever and held up.
And I'll be honest, Steve, coming out of the first half, going into the second, Nebraska guys had their hands on hips, and the Illinois offensive linemen were just like standing there drinking water.
Yeah.
So that was
shout out to them then. Shout out to Bielema hiring a good, because he hired a lot of nutrition staff, a lot of this, a lot of that.
Doug Kramer got called for. Did you watch the replay of that?
No.
If you can find it on YouTube, watch it. Doug Kramer fucked that dude up.
Fair enough.
Like we were talking about that. If you're 6'2" and you play center in the Big Ten, you got to be nasty. And Doug Kramer's a nasty dude. Like,
and then we also talked about how we're right back on it again.
We're back. It feels so good.
But we talked about if you're an interior lineman and you're nasty, you can set the tone for an entire line. But if it's like your tackle's a mean dude, it's kind of like he's out there on an island, and he doesn't really set the tone.
Because Nebraska
Nelson immediately improves the entire offensive line. Zach Martin for the Cowboys makes the entire offensive line better. But it's like you have like these elite tackles, and it's like they play an entirely different position than the other guys.
Yeah. Really good guards make your whole unit gel. You know? Yeah. And Nebraska's D-line was nothing to shake a stick at. They had some dudes.
They had some big-ass dudes. That number 93 was one big son of a bitch.
Looked like Ndamukong Suh was coming back into college football.
Deacon Jones head slap our ass.
All right, Steve. Games. We got to. We were doing so good keeping time here.
But it was just one thing after another. Like usually Illinois takes like 20 minutes. Like we lost, we suck, get rid of them, we're done. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Here was Illinois before. Lovey sucks. He's stoic. I'm sick of bubble passes.
We should play Isaiah Williams.
Balance. I'm sick of the cover 2 game day experience, which was the vast majority because the other 5 didn't even fucking matter.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go again. This all sucks. What about the game day experience, taking a folding table and bashing it up? Like,
we might actually have a good football to go along with an amazing game day experience.
No, you want to know the poll that Brett Bielema has? Pro Football Focus brought their 2 lead analysts to that game yesterday. How many times do you think PFF has ever gone to an Illinois football game?
But it's because it was week 0.
I don't care. It was still cool.
No. Illinois was the first college football win of the year.
And because they start their season a week early, they get to start recruiting 2023 a week before everyone else.
Nice.
So Bielema put next year we're playing on week 0 again. We play Wyoming.
Yeah.
Oh,
why wouldn't you do that? It gives you 1 week
to just be in contact.
Yeah, and with those guys and the way that they get after it in recruiting, that week could be very, very significant.
Last Illinois thing, Chester Frazier is the lead recruiter on 4 more recruits for 2022. Does that dude not sleep?
He lives and breathes basketball and loves Illinois.
You know what's best? He's actually from Baltimore, but
and he's recruiting a guy from Baltimore right now.
Oh shit!
It's Chester Frazier versus who's taken over as the coach at UNC, Hubert Davis.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
It's Chester Frazier versus Hubert Davis for this kid, and Chester Frazier's winning. The dude's a stud.
Yeah. and he just knows Illinois. You know, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Roger Powell in that spot too. It's just always nice when you have a coach that's from the place, they can speak to it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with who's our wide receivers coach? George McDonald.
Yeah.
That's a huge get for Illinois because he played at Illinois.
Yep.
He's brought in players. Like, the dude gets it.
Yep.
So.
All right, Brad,
Okay.
what's your Thursday game that you're looking at for Thursday?
Yeah. I think it's got to be Ohio State, Minnesota.
What is it? Ohio State minus 13.5?
Yes.
That seems low.
It does seem low. I would take Ohio State minus the points.
Is it because Ohio State has a new quarterback? You think that's why it's only
it seems low. Did they lose Master? What the fuck's his name?
Master Teague?
Yeah.
I think he's
they
back.
lost Trey Sermon. He's in the league now.
Somebody reported this is the best wide receiver group Ohio State has had.
Well, yeah, it's Chris Olave, Wilson, and they have a 5-star freshman.
Is that going to get the start? Oh, buddy.
Yeah, no, not their 5-star quarterback.
Oh.
5-star freshman receiver.
Okay.
Quinn Ewers is going to sit a year.
Okay.
He already signed $1 million NIL deal, though.
You know what's going to happen? These businesses are going to say, "Hey, we're going to give you $500,000, but some of that's going to pay your tuition." So then the school can take that scholarship and go get somebody else. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know if they'll do that.
You could just be a walk-on. You can be a walk-on.
True.
Pay your tuition, start, and then they can take that scholarship and go get something else.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how much, if Illinois football gets good, and by good, I mean
9-3.
9-3. If they're 9-3 with any amount of consistency, how much NIL money flows into that program?
Oh, for sure. Because there's some boosters. Like, it's going to happen.
There low key is some deep pocketed boosters for Illinois.
Yeah.
Like, there's the chance for some real NIL money.
That's why we have the 8-name head football coach.
Brought to you by the Taliban.
Yeah. Brought to you by not Geico because we can't use another car insurance.
So Ohio State, I think also because they're curious about Minnesota. Like, I'm very curious.
It's a prove it year for PJ Fleck.
Yep.
Because you got stomped by Michigan last year. You lost to Illinois last year.
Yeah. Illinois, that wasn't very good, yeah.
It's tough to recruit in Michigan, though. I think PJ Fleck's a great CEO. He's probably a great motivator. Not saying he can't recruit, but that's a tough place to recruit, too. Like Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Minnesota and Michigan.
Yeah.
They're tough.
But yeah, I'm taking Ohio State minus 13.5. I think CJ Stroud's going to be good. I think that line's low because of him, though. Because he's just an unknown.
Right.
Yeah.
They're playing it safe.
Yeah, because you're taking Justin Fields away, who was one of the most efficient college passers.
Yeah.
And going to an unknown at quarterback. I mean, you have 2 elite wide receivers, but
does Minnesota on defense, do they run man or do they run zone? Do we know?
It's both.
I believe they run a 4-2-5 formation wise, but I don't know exactly what.
Because if it's man, I would say Ohio State will obliterate them with the shallow crosses. But if they run a zone, it might be a slow game for a half.
Yeah. But I don't see Minnesota scoring.
Yeah, that too.
You know, Ohio State's just got playmakers on defense.
Well, they run that 4-4, then they pack everything down.
Yeah.
So that's what they did to Clemson. They're like, we're just going to sit in this 4-4, and then they tried against who'd they play after Clemson? Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama's like, nope, Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Before we get into all these, can we talk about how packed week 1 is?
It's packed. Like on Saturday, I have like 12 games written down, half because they just look interesting. Or
Yeah,
I've had them on a podcast or something.
I've got 10 for Saturday.
Well, shit. So how are we gonna do like your locks and then like what is a good bet and then an upset alert? Like, is that how are we doing this?
Yeah, because I think the Ohio State thing's a lock. That 13.5 has to be
That's a
Ohio
lot.
State straight up minus the points. I like the Boise State UCF game. UCF is only -5. And Boise State having a new head coach come in. Gus has something to prove. I think Gus is going to be free flow coaching because Auburn those last 2 years, he had a lot of pressure.
Do you want to do, okay, so before we get it, do you want to do that? We'll each do our picks. So we'll each have a lock and an upset. Now, do you want to do
good about?
Do you want to do the upset like straight up or against the spread?
Against the spread.
Okay.
I think me and Nathan have the same upset alert right
and
now.
then a game we feel good about. Yeah.
Steve, you better not have taken mine.
Hey, whose name is on this?
That's true. God damn. Sucks getting put in your place.
Yeah, goddamn, Steve.
I hurt my asshole.
Lay your
Steve,
dick on.
Steve never flexes, but when he flexed, that didn't hurt. That hurt.
Yeah,
That
you
Because
weren't
there's
ready.
another one. There's another one I want to do an upset on. But I've already said they're going to compete with Ohio State in the Big Ten, so it's really hard for me to
call it an upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Son
of a bitch.
No, you can keep it.
Okay.
We should have probably planned this out better. Because there's just so many good games, though. Like,
here, you want me to start?
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my feel good one, I feel good about Texas -9.
Oh.
Ooh.
Can me and Nathan just pounce on Brad right here? Because this was our upset.
Okay.
That's upset alert. Yeah.
I know. And that Louisiana team is low-key good. They bring back a lot of players. I think there's a lot of talent on that Texas team. They had kind of the Illinois thing. They had just a coach that was overcoaching last year. And I want to give Sark the benefit of the doubt. He went through the Nick Saban whitewash where it's like, yeah, you were an alcoholic, but now you were with Nick Saban, so you're a good guy again.
You've seen the Lord.
You've seen the Lord and Savior, Nick Saban. So I think that's...
Oh, before you continue, there was a picture put up of like how long until we see this, and it shows Nick Saban sitting there like the Godfather, and Scott Frost is there like in front of the table. Like how long till we see Scott Frost go to Alabama?
I think he's headed there. I don't think Saban wants him.
No, like an analyst. Like you're going to be Nick Saban's analyst. Like that's all it says.
You're going to be the guy in charge of making sure Nick Saban has the right shoes.
And if you screw it up, you're going right back to Nebraska. I swear to God.
To be tarred and feathered. And then my upset is Miami plus 18.5.
Oh my God.
I know, but I believe in it. That's a big spread. 18.5 is big.
I feel good about.
Oh, you're going against them just losing. Okay, you're not picking.
Yeah,
them
no,
in.
yeah.
Okay.
No, God, no.
I feel good with them getting 18.5 because I think it's going to take them a half to figure out their offense.
Exactly. Alabama, new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. They lost several offensive linemen. Their left tackles switching from right tackle. Miami has a history of good defensive ends. Like, there's a chance here. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying there's a chance they cover 18.5 points.
I mean, that's damn near three. That's like a 3-possession game.
Okay, I take it back. You're not a bastard. I'll take it back.
Easy.
Well, honestly, that was one of my locks, but Like, I think Miami plus 18.5. I think Alabama wins by like 10 or something like that.
Yeah. And then my sneaky lock here is Ole Miss minus 9.5 against Louisville.
Ooh.
Okay,
I
so
think Louisville sucks.
how many topics are we doing? You just had like 8. Come on, Big Cat. What is going on here?
He went upset. What? Who was your
upset? Game I feel good about.
Yeah.
And my
Okay,
lock.
so feel good, upset, lock, then sneaky. You had a sneaky one.
No. I just said sneaky.
Well, I'm gonna do 4.
Well, okay, then I want 4.
You just did 4.
I didn't do 4. I did. My upset was Miami plus 18.5.
Yes.
My feel good one was Texas minus 9.
Who was your lock?
My lock was Ole Miss minus 9.5.
Oh, I thought that was your sneaky one.
No, I think the sneaky one would probably be Wisconsin minus 4.5.
Yeah, let's do that then. Let's do those 4. I think that is pretty fair.
Yeah.
And then we all have the Illinois one, so we actually have 5 if you want to be technical.
Yeah.
Illinois but plus or minus 7.
I don't like Illinois getting points.
No,
No, I mean minus points. I don't like Illinois minus points. But I'll take it.
If I had to bet that, yeah. Oh, if I had to bet that. Yeah, it could be a field goal game.
Yeah. But anyway, Steve, now that you've complained enough about my picks, why don't you go ahead and go? Why don't you take a seat, Steve? Just take
I've been sitting this whole time.
Steve, just take a seat.
So let's see. Here's what sucks. Me and Nathan have the same upset.
We do. It's okay. I can find another upset if you want to throw that out there.
We can do both. There's nothing wrong with. Because my upset was Raging Cajuns beating Texas.
Yes, I agree.
So
I think Steve Sarkisian's going to show why he's only an assistant coach in his first game, in my opinion.
Raging Cajuns are a good team. They're well coached. That head coach, he's a hot commodity. He's turned down Division I jobs because he wants to stay there and win. He can recruit. And Texas is in a bad spot.
Texas is moving on from their quarterback. I mean, they're going to have talent, no doubt. But I would take Sarkisian to me is a wild card. He took an Atlanta offense that was one of the top offenses in the NFL and put them in the bottom 5. And then, he called plays for Alabama, but he ran an Alabama offense that every offensive coordinator runs.
That really Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, that Lane Kiffin design, basically. So I don't trust Sarkisian. All gas, no brakes. That's an East St. Louis thing. That's not a Steve Sarkisian thing. We've been saying that for like 9 years.
Yeah.
Now, this is embarrassing. I can't. What's the LSU numbers?
-4.
-4.
Mm-hmm.
I feel good about taking LSU -4.
Damn it, Steve.
Don't you dare. You've been shitting on LSU.
Who, me?
A year. Yeah.
Me?
You're like, oh, they're not going to be good.
I never once said that.
It may not have been you.
We all love Coach.
I attribute all bad college football takes to Steve.
No wonder why I get shit on outside somewhere by people. Like, you're starting stuff.
I've been telling everybody. Like, Steve has no faith in Illinois football or the Bears or anybody, just to rile people up and make them mad.
No wonder why nobody subscribes.
I don't have faith in the Chicago Bears because Jim Miller wants to talk shit about Trubisky not pushing the ball down the field. Justin Fields had 7 completions for 50 yards.
Okay, let's not with the Bears.
You want to hear
I regret bringing it up.
You want to know my lock straight up, and maybe this is Nathan's too. Who knows?
What's that?
What is it?
Georgia's going to beat Clemson.
That's a good one.
That's my lock. Not the points. I'm just straight up.
I mean, it's only 3.
Yeah, it's only 3.
So, was it Clemson -3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Georgia +3 then.
I think that's good. I like that.
And then my sneaky one is, where'd it go? Iowa is -3.5. I think it's going to be Iowa wins by 3. Like, that's going to be a close game. Indiana and Iowa.
We got to keep track of these too, because we have to put that up there, like what our record is.
Yeah.
So we are all 1-0.
We're all 1-0.
Point.
How much? Who wants to? Do I need to make an Excel sheet and just keep track?
Yeah, make a Google sheet so we can. But you can just edit it.
Yeah.
Well, then you'll have to send them to me. I wrote mine down. I got Raging Cajuns as the upset. I feel good about LSU -4.
And we got to weight these too. So you guys took Illinois with the spread, but I took Illinois head up.
Well, I think I said head up.
Okay, now why don't we just take like your lock?
Because the upset, I feel like if you call the upset, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
A lock is like a 1-pointer. Upset's a 2-pointer. You just get points.
Yeah, why don't we do points? So if your lock doesn't win, it's -2. But if it wins, it's +1.
Oh, that
You're
makes
going to
it
keep track of this. You're going to do the Google sheet now. That is too much.
Okay,
work
that's
for
fine.
me.
I can do the Google sheet. Everybody send me their picks.
All right.
Now, when we say straight up, does that mean we're taking plus the points then?
No. Straight up is just like they're going to win the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So upset, Raging Cajuns straight up. I'm not going with the points. I'm just upset. Raging Cajuns will win. My feel good is LSU -4.
And it's got to be games you can actually win money off of, because obviously I'm not going to take Wake Forest head up against the Monarchs when they're 31.5-point favorites.
Because one of the games I was going to talk about was I thought Citadel and Coastal Carolina, but you can't bet on it. There's no odds anywhere.
Yeah, there's no odds. I can't find them.
My lock is Georgia straight up. And then Iowa -3.5.
Damn. You ain't going to take the points with Georgia? Just take the points.
Yeah, no, Steve, you only got to do the straight up for the upset.
Okay, then lock. Okay, sorry. So upset
wait, we're doing straight up for the upset?
Yeah. So I have to change mine, but I like that more. I like that.
Because I like Louisiana Lafayette plus.
We went
9.
from like 6 people watching to 1 with this slapdick
betting thing.
Okay, so when I timestamp this, good hour of Illinois, and then a shit half hour
of
shit organization.
We're just like Illinois fans right now. We need the reps. We're trying to figure it out.
Instead of I can't even remember what I was gonna say. Continue on. Oh, instead of just call it like, podcast shenanigans. That's what we call it when we go off on a tangent.
And then quick shout out, Eastern Michigan is going to play. Shout out to their O-line GA coaches on my podcast. Will be released in a couple weeks. And Syracuse is going to play Ohio University. I helped out Dino Babers at EIU. And Coach Rudolph is the offensive line coach at Ohio, who, if you have O-line questions, send him a message. He sent me stuff for like Inside Zone. So
nice.
Shout out to Coach Rudolph. And Brad, yes, I am that good.
So since the upset has to be straight up, I'm changing to UCLA straight up over LSU.
Talk about me hating LSU. Just take a seat.
I'll take a seat.
Okay, so upset straight up. Feel good can be whatever.
Yeah. The rest of them are going to be against the spread.
Okay, so Georgia is what I say, -3 or plus
Georgia's
3?
+3.
I'll take Georgia +3. And then Iowa, and then sneaky. Can that be anything?
Yeah. It's like sneaky good pick.
You
Ooh,
guys
okay.
are really taking all my damn picks.
So what if I said Indiana +3?
You can do that.
They're only going to lose by 3.
Yeah.
Who are they
I'm going to do
playing?
that. I'm going to get – okay, that's my sneaky. Okay, Indiana plus
I have it
3.5.
at 3.5.
Yeah, that's fine.
Who are they playing? Where are they at?
Iowa.
Indiana plays Iowa
Oh shit!
at Iowa.
Why can't I bet on that game?
I don't know.
Because we're in Illinois.
Is Penix back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think Iowa's going to be good, though. Like, that's why this is my sneaky one. But, like, Iowa's going to be good.
And the upset has to be head up.
Yep.
Hold on, I gotta go through my fucking things then.
Next week we'll have this done ahead of time.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone. Where's Michigan State at? Or Mississippi State? Mississippi State is minus 23.5 versus Louisiana Tech.
Don't be
That's
home
not going to
this
happen.
week.
That's
Yeah,
not
you
going to
don't
happen.
want to do
No, I was going to take somebody's got to take Louisiana Tech plus 23.5. I don't think Mississippi State. Louisiana Tech's good. Mississippi State will win by 23.5.
Before
All right,
we
Nathan,
made
what do you got?
before we made the upset, not the point spread, the actual upset, I'm going to take, and I feel bad because the school I coach at has a kid on the football team there, but I'm going to take Oregon State over Purdue.
I like it. I like it.
I'm going to take Oregon State over Purdue. My lock is going to be North Carolina over Virginia Tech, and I'm going to give those 5.5. And then my feel good is LSU -4. So somebody's got to be right.
What's your
I
sneaky one?
I think Ed Ogeron, he knows what he needs to do, and he'll get it done. He had a young team last year. They're one play away from beating Florida.
They did beat Florida.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Florida. Yeah. So, yeah, I always get that shoe thing screwed up, but yeah. I think they'll come out and they'll play well. And I think Chip Kelly needs one more year to get all of his guys to where he can do what he wants to do.
He may not make it a year.
Chip Kelly?
Yeah, they're already talking about.
Why? You're UCLA. You were shit. You're literally shit.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm just letting you know they've already talked about like.
Are UCLA people like Auburn people?
I think so.
Yeah.
UCLA is like the Auburn of the West.
Because UCLA is so obsessed with being USC.
Yeah, they've got small man syndrome.
Yeah,
with the big brother.
So, Brad, did you get all that for your Google sheet?
No, you guys have to text me your picks and I'll put them in there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
dude, by the way, Notre Dame is only 7.5 over Florida State.
Because of a new DC and a new quarterback for Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
If they can still run the ball with that offensive line, I think they're better than a touchdown.
I think they are too.
People are high on Florida State, though. I don't know why.
Why?
Because
they think they're going to be way better.
That's why.
Yeah.
You said it in the thing. They are high.
Yeah, it seems like a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we did a good job. We kind of stayed below 2 hours here.
Yes. And got all the picks in and got that all sorted out. Next week, it'll be like a 5-minute deal.
Exactly. And then we can talk about Illinois for an hour, 20 minutes.
Yes.
Now, we're all comfortable Illinois going to win and minus the points. Or is it going to be closer than that?
If I was going to bet that game.
Just Illinois straight up?
Yes.
I would take Illinois straight up. I don't know about against the spread.
I think it's a field goal game. If they made that game a 3.5, I probably wouldn't take it either.
Oh, I would take it at 3.5.
You would take it at minus 3.5?
Yeah.
I think that we are kicking a field goal to win by like 2. There's going to be some weird ass freaking thing where we're down 2 points or something like that and have to kick a field goal.
That's why
at one point the game was 6-2 yesterday.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be some weird shit.
True. True. Well, I don't know. I will take. You know what? No, I'll take Illinois -7. I will. I think they have a lot going for them right now. Big first win against Power 5 school conference. I know UTSA is going to be pretty good, but at the same time, I think Bielema is smart enough to be like, hey, there's only one game.
Yeah.
There's a small part of me that wants to change my sneaky to Alabama will win by 18.5. Because I
No,
watched Miami a lot.
You can't just flip flop.
Whose name's on the show?
This is like Michael Scott. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You can't keep doing that.
No, only
First you said you didn't want
because
to have kids, so snipped. Then he said you might want to have kids, so then
Snip.
snipped.
only
Snip, snip,
because
snip, snip.
I watched Miami last year and I'm not impressed.
Like George St. Pierre. I was not impressed with your performance.
Nope, not going to do it. All right, talk myself
Okay.
out of it.
All right. Just text me your picks, and then I'll
Okay.
put them in the Excel sheet.
Roger.
Okay.
So we're done.
Yeah, we're done. We did it.
We did it. Steve, I
All
do
right.
have some questions, though, off the podcast, so don't just exit.
Okay, well, we're done.
All right.
All right, blouses.
Blouses.
Peace.